You ready, kids? Aye, aye, Captain! I can't hear you. Aye, aye, Captain! What's going on with you, baby? Welcome right now to the People's Paradise live vlog cast. What's going on with you? I am your host, your sovereign, your prince, your leader, JT Sovereign. It's a pleasure, utmost enjoyment of my life to be able to sit in front of this camera and have a conversation with you live, by the way. So right now I'm going live. If you're not listening to me live right now, you're probably listening to me after I've recorded the video. Make sure you subscribe to this video. Subscribe to my YouTube channel so that way, after you press the subscribe button, every single time I go live and talk with my other listeners, you'll be able to listen to them live and chat and comment with me and talk to the guy live. You'll be able to actually have a conversation with your Lord and Savior now live. So let's go ahead and have the conversation now. I'm doing this video about something that always kind of plagued my mind, and me and my cousin were actually having a debate about this a few days ago. We were talking about, Pirates of the Caribbean, Pirates of the Caribbean. I did a review. I did a vlog review for the newest Pirates of the Caribbean movie that's coming out called Dead Men Tell No Tales, which I am going to see that movie. I'm a faithful fan of the franchise, the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. I am a faithful follower of the franchise. I do feel they're making too many movies without putting more thought into the screenplay and the art of the movies, but at the end of the day, I support it because I love Caribbean culture. I love pirate culture, so it touches my heart with me like that. It just touches the centerpiece with me. But my cousin was talking to me, and my cousin, he's black, and we were talking about African American characters in Pirates of the Caribbean. We're talking about not even so much as African American, just people of color. He said, why don't we see that many people of color in the Pirates of the Caribbean movie? Why, when you watch a Pirates of the Caribbean movie, you only see maybe 4 or 5 black people at the most in the movie? And I was like, well, it's not that big of a deal, is it? But then he brought up a good point to me. He said, bro, I've been to Trinidad and Tobago, I've been to Jamaica, I've been to the Cayman Islands, I've been to the Bahamas, I've been to Antigua and Barbuda. All these are places in the Caribbean, by the way. And he said, bro, I have never seen as many white people in the Caribbean as I have seen in the Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Never. Like, and that's true even here. Like, if you meet somebody from the Caribbean in the United States, 9 times out of 10, they're from Jamaica. They're black. They're from Jamaica. They're from Bahamas. Even the Indians from Trinidad and Tobago. You rarely ever see a regular brand, just regular vanilla white, chalk white person from the Caribbean. And he was saying it was racism. He was saying it was racism in the casting. My own personal opinion was this. I said, well, you got to look at it from 2 different aspects. These movies are set in the 19th century. Now, the catch about the 19th century, 19th century and 18th century, the catch about the 19th century and the 18th century, you already know where I'm going with this. That wasn't a good period in time for black people every fucking where. That wasn't a good time for black people every fucking where. Whether you lived in the Caribbean, whether you lived in the United States, whether you lived in Brazil, whether you lived in Colombia, whether you lived in Africa, just people of color generally, even Indians. That wasn't a good period for people of color any fucking where. We were all getting fucked up. Whether you were Indian, black, brown, whatever. If you weren't white at that time, that was when it was really bad to be black or brown. So I think in this movie, I think one of the reasons they don't show more black characters is because they will be trying to go along with more of the historicity of what was going on around the movie at that time. So you would see black slaves. You would see a lot more black slaves in the movie. Now, granted, and I've done my research, there were a lot of black pirates in those times in the Caribbean, but the catch is most of them were slaves. So I love Jack Sparrow. I love Will Turner. I love all them niggas. I love Jack Sparrow, even though I want Jack Sparrow to get him a wife because I'm tired of him coming into these goddamn movies, going after some girl that don't even want him. But it'd be safe to say that if Jack Sparrow really existed and he was a pirate, 9 times out of 10, if there were black people on his boat, like that one black girl who appeared in the first movie, who he stole the ship from, in real life, the more of the context probably would have been as she stole him from another slave master and she escaped. That probably would have been more of the real context. So I don't know. If I actually was a director and casting director of Pirates of the Caribbean, I don't know how I would go about casting people of color, because you're trying to stay true to Caribbean culture and pirate culture at that time, but at the same time you don't want to come off as racist. So I don't know how you would do it. I really don't know. I don't have an answer to that. So I'm asking you right now, what would you do? Like, what would you do? Like, what would you do? I want to ask you, what would you do? What would you do? Like, if you were a casting director for Pirates of the Caribbean, would you try to cast more people of color? Would you try to cast more people of color? Because then I thought about something too. It's not like you have to go directly by what the fuck was going on back then. So you can have 50 black people in the 50 plus more black people in the movie and they not be slaves. You know what? I don't know. So tell me what you think. Do you think Pirates of the Caribbean should have more black people in it? Do you think Pirates of the Caribbean should have more people of color in it in general? More Aztec people, more Latin American people, more Indian people? Because a lot of people don't know, people from India actually do make up a good portion of the people in the Caribbean. And if you go to Trinidad or Tobago, a lot of people that you meet in Trinidad and Tobago are from India or have family and roots from India. So that's my opinion. I want you to tell me what you think about that. And with that being said, my name is JT. It's been a pleasure talking to you. It's been a pleasure having this conversation with you. Make sure you take the time to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. Press that subscribe button right there so you can subscribe. And that way, every single time that I get on vlog and I live vlogcast to my people, or live vlogcast to my listeners, you are going to be included in the listeners that I talk to live. You're going to be included in my live vlogcast YouTube family. So with that being said, this is your boy JT. Thank you so much for participating in the People's